Well, hey there, East Main Baptist Church. As always, thanks for joining me for another real short talk with Ryan. I think we've got a good one in front of us today as we consider this question. What do you do when life seems overwhelming? I think we can all raise our hands and admit that at times life seems overwhelming. It just seems like we've got all of these different things going on, and this thing's going wrong, and this thing's going okay, but it's just a lot, and there's just all of these voices and all of this noise. And what do you do in those situations? A lot of us have some physical coping mechanisms, right? We bundle up on the couch with a big old thing of ice cream. We go for a jog, or we go to the gym, or we lose ourselves in a TV show or a book, right? We try and escape the noise. We try and just forget about everything that is going on around us. And while that sometimes can be helpful for a moment, right, the problems are still there when we come back. So we need a more sustainable, a better solution for those problems. And that's what David is looking for in Psalm chapter 3. In verse 1, he says, "O Lord, how many are my foes? Many are rising against me. Many are saying of my soul, there is no salvation for him in God." He was facing troubles. We know that in Psalm 3, David was writing this as he is fleeing from his son Absalom, who is marching in to take the nation of Israel from him. Right? This is a punishment that David is facing for his failures before the Lord, but this is a very serious and a very scary moment for David, right? He literally has an enemy that is pursuing him. He's like, hey, I'm overwhelmed in this moment. Lord, I have no escape on my own. It seems like everybody's saying, oh, the Lord is distant. So what does he do? He reminds himself of the Lord's goodness, and he reminds himself of the Lord's faithfulness. But you, O Lord, are a shield about me, my glory, the lifter of my head. I cried aloud to the Lord, and he answered me from his holy hill. Lord, you're the one that picks me up. You're the one that carries me. You're the one that fights my battles for me. You are the one that answers me. Right? Because sometimes we call out to God in the midst of all of our troubles and our chaos, and it feels like he is not listening. But his word reminds us that he is always listening. He says, I laid down and slept, and I woke again, and the Lord sustained me. He wasn't scared to go to sleep, even though he was facing all of these troubles, because he knew the Lord was watching out for him. He says, I will not be afraid of many thousands of people who have set themselves up all around me, right? He says, I'm not going to be scared. The enemy wants us to be scared. The enemy wants us to feel alone. He wants us to feel like we are threatened and surrounded, and we're going to be overwhelmed, and that the Lord cannot be there. But his word reminds us that the Lord is there for us. The Lord can sustain us. The Lord can protect us. The Lord can provide for us. He promises to do those things for us. And David just cries out. He says, arise, O Lord, save me, O my God. And I would submit to you, that's what we need to do when troubles come our way, when everything in life seems overwhelming. It's not just ignore it and shut it out. It's to say, hey, oh Lord, save me. Oh Lord, be my shield as you have promised to be. Remind me again and again of who you are and what you have done. Fill me with your strength. Let me see the Lord more clearly. Let me see how you are working, because you are always working. So when life gets overwhelming this week, and I bet you it's going to get overwhelming this week, don't just look at the troubles and look at everything that's going wrong and everything that you have to do and just say, oh, what am I going to do? Look at everything that's going wrong and look at all of the things that you have to do and say, Lord, save me. Lord, be with me. As you have always been with me, continue to be with me in these moments. Hey, be sure to go read Psalm 3 for yourself. Meditate on it. And we'll see you back next week for Real Short Talks with Ryan as we look at Psalm chapter 4. Until then, go and glorify his name.